What's up? All right, what's up? Give me a quick moment here, and we're gonna get everything set up. Sick. We got it. We got it. We got it. Good. Good. We are set up and ready. We are going to be getting into the show in just a couple of moments. Just a couple of moments here. But as you tune in, make sure if you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, make sure you are doing that today. The title of the show is The Elite Development Podcast. The goal of the show is to help athletes reach bigger and better versions of themselves in their careers. Now, the reason that I've developed this show overall and the reason that I am confident it is going to be the number one podcast in the athlete development space is because we're talking about everything here. We're not talking, this isn't a strength and conditioning podcast. This isn't a mindset podcast. This isn't, focused on one specific area. This is focused on helping athletes in every single area of their careers. There's so many things that athletes overlook. There's so many things that athletes aren't doing that they need to be doing. And this year in 2023, we are coming at you with a lot more direct tactical value that you can take into your careers on a day-to-day basis. So today, we're going to be talking about how you are letting your opponent beat you without even starting the competition. And we're going to be talking about this for a very specific reason. But that is for when we start the show in about 15 seconds. So we're going to be talking about how you are letting your opponent beat you without even starting the competition. And make sure, before we get into the show here, if you have not already, write down the name of the show, The Elite Development Podcast. And then as soon as the stream is done, go hit that subscribe button. There is going to be a lot of value that you are going to need from this show. So let's get into the episode for today in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes trying to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and it is my purpose to help athletes reach the absolute best versions of themselves so they can grow as athletes, compete at the highest possible level, and make every single one of their dreams come true. Today, we're going to be talking about how you are letting your opponent beat you before you even start competing. I'm going to be going through a few things today that I commonly see athletes do that quite simply are keeping them from reaching their true potential. This is keeping them from actually being successful in their sport. And the reason I want to go through these today is because I want people to finally one day open their eyes and understand that these are not negotiable things. These are not things that you can just continue to do and eventually see success because you work hard. Every athlete out there understands that hard work is important. And if that is what you're basing your career on, I'm going to make it because I work really hard, you're going to fail. You're going to fail if all you're working on, if all you're focused on is the fact that you work hard. Everybody out there works hard, and that does not separate you. So today we're going to go through very common mistakes that I see athletes make on a daily basis that keeps them stuck where they are, that keeps them from reaching their true potential, that keeps them from achieving the goals that they have in their careers. So number one, and again, these are not in any specific order. This isn't an order of importance or anything like that. These are all critical mistakes that I see athletes make and all things that you need to fix if you want to have a shot at making your goals in your sport your actual reality. So number one is athletes that have no structure in their training. I'm sure you've all heard the expression of becoming an expert through 10,000 hours of practice, and here is why that's bullshit. If you are just practicing, you're just throwing your gloves on and hitting a bag, there's only a certain amount of progress you're going to make from that. You don't just need to practice something. You need to have an actual intentional plan on what you are trying to improve. Being in the gym, doing something is not enough. Being in the gym, doing something is not enough. You have to actually have an intentional plan at what you're trying to improve. And if you don't have that intentional plan, you are not going to be successful. I constantly hear athletes talk about their strength and conditioning work that they're doing. And honestly, sometimes it's just frustrating to listen to because it's this ridiculous mess of hill sprints, burpees, sit ups, and push ups with a bunch of other random exercises thrown in there. And it's just not doing anything for you. You know, they're all pumped up and their ego's been stroked because they're working super hard and they feel like if they're working hard, then they're going to make it somehow. But there's no fucking structure to that. There's no real benefit to that. And yeah, that's going to be a hard workout. So you're going to leave the gym feeling like you checked the box, you worked really hard today. But if you're not actually gaining anything out of that long term, if you're doing crazy workouts like that and you're listening to this right now, if you're doing crazy workouts like that, but you're still gassing out when you step into the ring or you step into the cage to fight, let this be the day that you understand that those workouts you're doing aren't fucking serving you. Those workouts you're doing aren't helping you. Yeah, they're hard, but if they're not structured and they don't have an actual benefit in mind, you're not getting anything out of them. So, how do we fix this problem? Because I know there are going to be athletes listening to this that right away sit here and say, well, if I'm working really hard, then that means I'm getting better. And if I'm getting better, that means I'm going to make it wherever the hell I want to make it. So, how do we fix this problem? First, I want you to understand making a hard workout is not a difficult thing to do. I can invent one for you right now that is going to be really hard for you to get through. But if it's not structured and doesn't have an actual purpose other than making you tired, it's not going to be what actually benefits you when you come back to your sport. So, how do we fix this? If your strength and conditioning has no structure, it's not strength and conditioning. Stop calling it that. It's an insult to me. It's an insult to every other coach that actually puts time and effort into developing a proper program. And it's just not strength and conditioning. So, how do we fix that? When it is done properly by qualified professionals, strength and conditioning work is designed to help benefit your performance in your sport. And this, again, I don't want to have this construed as an attack on skills coaches, but when skills coaches throw together random workouts to finish off your pad session or whatever else it might be, yeah, those workouts are hard, but those are not built with energy system development in mind. Those are not built with strength in mind. Those are not effective strength and conditioning training sessions. And if you have a problem with what I just said, if you have an issue with what I just said, make sure to send me a message and we can sit and talk about it, because I guarantee those random circuit sessions that you're seeing at the end of your martial arts training are not properly structured strength and conditioning sessions. They're just not. So when they are done by actual qualified professionals, when you are learning strength and conditioning from a strength and conditioning coach that has some sort of background experience in the field specific to that, now it is designed to benefit your performance in sport. So this means structured training to help improve in your weak areas and bulletproof your body. So if you are dealing with, tight shoulders, this part of your strength and conditioning work is going to be to open up and build strength in your shoulders to fix that issue. If you're dealing with an old hip injury that keeps acting up while you train, part of your strength and conditioning should be focused around building strength through that hip, improving range of motion through that hip, and bulletproofing that weakness that you have right now. This also means implementing a weekly recovery day, because you understand that this also means implementing a weekly recovery day because you understand that an equally, if not more important part of training is the ability to recover quickly between sessions so you can continually train at your best. If you are not recovering, you are not improving. If you are not recovering, you are not improving. I understand that there's this mentality behind training for some reason of all gas, no breaks. And if you train 7 days a week, you're going to get that much more. That's just not how that works. You need recovery in your week. And if you're not recovering, you are not improving. And again, this is something that I see every single day with athletes. They tell me, I just need to do more. I need to do more. I was speaking to somebody the other day who said they have trouble with their gas tank. They gas out while they fight, and they're fighting, 3 3-minute rounds, 9 minutes of fighting. And they thought that the answer was to add in more on top of the hour plus of cardio work that they're doing already. If 1 hour of training to help prepare you for 9 minutes isn't doing the trick, 2 hours of training isn't going to do the trick either. It's not about the volume. It's about the quality of the work. It's about what you're spending that time doing. Now, one of the other very important things that you need to be conscious of while you're training is energy system development. I see this trend where athletes are doing these conditioning sessions that are 2 hours long. And like I was talking about before, these random circuits with push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, whatever the hell else thrown in there. And the goal is almost who can go the longest without puking. And going the longest without puking is not properly setting up strength and conditioning. Going the longest without puking is fatiguing you for the sake of fatiguing you. If you have a 9-minute fight, the goal of your training is not to see who can go the longest. The goal of your training is who can go the hardest for 9 minutes. If you have a 15-minute fight, same thing. If you have a 25-minute fight, same thing. The goal is who can go the longest for the duration of the competition. And your training needs to reflect that. Now, mistake number 2 that I commonly see athletes making is not spending time working on your time management. One of the most common things I hear from athletes that aren't doing strength and conditioning work or aren't hitting their regular training sessions through their week, one of the most common things I hear is that they're just too busy. They have too much on their plate, so they can't add in 2 extra sessions a week to improve their actual physical structure of their body because they just have too much going on right now. Now, if you're out there right now and you are trying to become a professional athlete, I need you to understand this is not negotiable. Lifting weights is not negotiable. This can't be something that you're too busy to do because there are thousands of other athletes after those same professional spots that you are after. There are thousands of other athletes looking to compete in the UFC. There are thousands of other athletes that you might come up against in your career that are lifting weights 2 to 3 times a week. And when you guys get matched up, skill or no skill, they're going to be stronger than you. They're going to be more explosive than you. They're going to be able to go for longer than you. And at that point, they're going to beat you, even if you're better than they are. And if they are beating you, they are taking that career that you are working so hard for. And if they're taking that career that you're working so hard for, and you're finished fighting at 40, 45, 50 years old, and you're looking back on your career and you're saying, well, I just had a lot on my plate, so I couldn't get those sessions in. How the fuck are you going to feel about yourself? How are you going to feel about yourself if you're looking back on your career and you're telling yourself, I just couldn't do it because I was too busy? I find it so hard to believe that you are too busy to get these crucial things in during your day. If you're an athlete right now listening to this and that triggered you a little bit, I understand. But instead of, coming at me with the mentality of, oh, he doesn't understand, he doesn't get how busy I am, look at it this way. How conscious are you of how you're spending your time? What time are you waking up in the morning? Can you wake up 30 minutes earlier? Can you wake up an hour earlier? How much time are you spending watching TV at night? I know I like to wind down with an episode or 2 of something. How much time are you spending watching TV at night? If you're spending an hour, could you get to bed an hour earlier so that you could wake up an hour earlier? How much time do you spend scrolling on your phone? It might be 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 minutes here, but all of that time through the day adds up. All of that time through the day adds up, and this is all time that could be going towards 2 extra hours per week to focus on building your body up so it is physically able to take the demands of your sport. There's so many little time-wasting activities that athletes do every single day, and being able to not even eliminate them, but just minimize them can be an absolute game changer for your career. If you were able to take 2 hours out of your week, if you were able to take 2 hours of these time-wasting activities and put it towards a proper strength and conditioning plan, 2 extra hours, that's it. This will be a game changer for your career. And now instead of looking back at 40 going, really wish I could have done more, You're looking back at 40 with a championship up on your wall. You're looking back at 40 with memories of fighting around the world. You're looking back at 40 with money in the bank from this career you've put so much of your life into. Finally, last but not least, one of the most common mistakes I see in athletes of all sports, but we're sticking to combat sports on this show because that is a huge portion of who I work with. One of the most common mistakes I see with athletes that is going to keep you stuck is thinking that you have all the answers. If you're sitting here right now and you believe that you understand how to develop to the top level as an athlete, if you are sitting here right now and you're thinking that, these experts that are telling you to change up how you're training don't know what they're talking about. If you're sitting here right now and you're thinking that you're doing everything exactly how you need to do it, and there's no way you can improve, and there's nothing that you can be doing better, you're missing the fucking boat. There are thousands of athletes out there every single day looking for answers. There's thousands of athletes out there every single day looking for improvements. There's thousands of athletes every single day looking for anything and everything they can do to get an edge on you. Let that sink in. There are thousands that are going after the same things you're going after, and they are spending their time looking for an edge on what they can do to be better than you. So if you're not doing that, and you're simply feeling like what you're doing right now is perfect and you have no need to improve, you're losing. Even without competing, you're losing. So of these three things that we talked about today, let's go back over them quickly. So number one, if you are doing your strength and conditioning work and you have no structure, you are letting your opponents beat you without even stepping into competition. Because the ones out there that are structuring their training properly are making more improvements every minute that they're in the gym than you are. If you are not spending time working on your time management, if you are not finding resources for your time management to make improvements in these areas, you are letting your opponents beat you without stepping into competition. Because the ones who learn how to better manage their time are going to be the ones that are going to be able to get more out of each and every day. And if they can get more out of each and every day, then every day they are getting further and further ahead of you because you're too stubborn to spend time working on your time management because you don't think it's important. You are letting your opponents beat you without stepping into competition. Now, number three, last but not least, if you are sitting here right now and you think you have all the answers, you think your training systems are perfect, you think you're doing all the right things, you think there's nothing you can do better, you are letting your opponents beat you without stepping into competition. Because every single one of your future opponents are out there right now looking for answers. They're looking for ways to improve. They're looking for things they can do that are going to give them an edge on you. With that last point, though, I also want to make sure you're not going to take that and just completely scrap everything you're doing in training and try to rebuild it from scratch. Obviously, if you're succeeding, if you're winning, if you're doing some good things, then what you're doing is working and that's good. But instead of sitting there and saying what I'm doing right now is working and that's great, so I'm just going to keep doing that and nothing else, look for that next 1%. Look for that small tweak, that one thing you're not quite doing right that you might be able to improve on. You're taking little pieces from the other athletes that you follow. You're taking little pieces from other coaches. You're taking little pieces from the people around you. That is going to allow you to continue to improve. That is going to allow you to continue to see success in your sport. All right, that is it. That is all. I appreciate all of you who took some time to be here for the show today. I appreciate you taking the time and joining me. If you're listening back to this on the podcast, watching it on the YouTube channel, any other way that you can find this show, what are you doing? Make sure that you subscribe to the show. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are following along for the ride. This show is continuing to grow at an exponential rate. I'm super, super happy with that. And I'm super, super grateful that I get to continue to bring it to all of you. Now, my one ask of you is that you share this with a friend, share this with a teammate, share this with someone who needs to hear this message. the way we grow the most is through word of mouth. The way we grow the most is through those out there that are getting value from the show, that share it around with teammates, training partners, friends, family, coaches, anybody who needs to hear the message. So thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And I'll talk to you all again soon.